As a Christian or a follower of Christ or a spiritual person who's seeking to know God and do God's will, is it okay to smoke weed? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm just going to give you my opinion, my perspective, which has helped a lot of people. I've been coaching people for a couple of years. I've wrote a couple of books, not on this topic, but in the spiritual self-growth, self-development arena of things. So I want to share my perspective on weed. Also, being someone who used to smoke all throughout high school, I was a stoner. I remember I took pride in only missing one day in a full year of smoking. Like, I don't know why I took pride in that, but I smoked every day. It was just normal to me. I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think it was good or bad. It was just normal. And I now don't smoke, and I have absolutely no desire to. And the process that I went through is what I would like to share in this video, and how it just naturally fell off. It just naturally dissolved. I just no longer had a desire to smoke. It's not like I had to will my way through it and like really try hard not to. No, it just fell off. It was like this thing I just didn't want to do anymore. And I'll kind of share with you how I got to that point, and hopefully it helps you. So let's dive in. Let me first start by asking you a question. Do you feel that it is making you more productive in your work, whatever it is that you do, your creativity? Maybe you have an idea that you want to bring to reality. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to create a YouTube channel or start, teaching people, being influenced, whatever it is. Does smoking help you, make you more productive, make you more clear-minded and more sharp? Or does it make you lazy, make you eat unhealthy, make you less clear-minded, less sharp, and unproductive? You have to be honest with yourself here. I mean, there's just no way around it. From my perspective, I could not have written a book by the time I was 21, 2 books by the time I was 24, created many online programs, created over 6 figures from my businesses over the years, coached many people in the sort of self-development mindset, spiritual niche, and made hundreds, probably a few thousand videos online, between like reels and also you could say posts and YouTube videos. I would not have been able to do any of these things if I were smoking weed. I just wouldn't have. It would just not have been possible. I would not have had the mental clarity. I would not have been able to focus on these things long enough to actually manifest or turn them into reality. I know for a fact within myself, I wouldn't have been able to do those things. And I wouldn't be able to be speaking on this video to you right now if I were high. I just wouldn't. My mind doesn't work the same. Now for you, you have to look within yourself and do some introspection and be honest with yourself and see if it's adding to your life or subtracting, if it's beneficial or destructive. You just have to be honest. And for some people, it's beneficial. They can smoke and they can sit in their creative space and they can get things done. But for other people, they get lazy, they listen to music, they eat and drink unhealthy, they become unproductive, and they use it to sort of run away from their problems instead of sitting and facing their problems. Instead of taking action on the things that they know they need to take action on that will result in the future that they want to create. Or their connection with God. Now, some people say, oh, well, I've smoked, when I smoke, I actually get closer to God. I feel more peace. I feel better. Well, maybe you do, or maybe it's an illusion. Perhaps you feel good because obviously it's creating a chemical reaction in your body, in your mind, in your brain. and you like the feeling of that chemical reaction, and maybe you do get in your more creative space, or maybe it's just, suppressing deeper feelings that you haven't dealt with yet. And that's why you feel good, because when you're not smoking, you feel bad. So then you smoke, you feel good, and you think you're connecting more with God, but really you're just suppressing the default state of emotions that you deal with on a regular. So you have to look within yourself and just do the introspection. I can't tell you what to do. And I'm not one of those people that are going to come on here and just say, you have to stop smoking now. It's destroying your life. No. You're smart enough to make a decision in your own life and come to the conclusion that will best benefit you. I don't have to tell you what that is. I'm just going to make things clear so that you can make that decision for yourself in your life. I remember when I used to sell weed, I'll tell you a little story that actually ended me up in jail. I used to sell weed, and I actually talked about this in one of my longer videos. I'll link it up here. It's a really long video. It's like my journey to discovering God. I got a wire war on me. So what that means is somebody, talking to the police, they had a microphone on them when I was selling them weed, and it put me in jail. I was 17 years old at the time, and I was making a lot of money for my age, and I was kind of well known in my city. And like I said, I was only 17. I was still in high school. I was hiding it. I was doing my thing, and I ended up going to county jail. So when I was 18 is when I went to court. So I ended up going to actual jail, not juvie for the little kids, jail, like real jail. When I was 18, 30 days. And I got out, and I was still kind of smoking here and there. Trying to remember clearly. See, also smoking really messed my memory up, because I have friends come to me and ask me, do you remember when we used to do this and this and this? I'm like, no, I have absolutely no memory of those things. Which is, I don't think it's a bad thing, because a lot of people are just constantly in their mind, just dwelling on things in the past, on their memory. I don't really have much ever going through my mind, which is a good thing, because then you're more present. But anyways, I was still smoking after I got out of jail. And at one point I started seeking truth, created an Instagram page, started spreading knowledge, spreading all the things I was learning. I was really a conspiracy page. And I kind of was on and off with smoking. My roommate, he would smoke constantly, and I would take a week off. I wouldn't smoke, and then I remember one day there would be remnants of blunts laying around, and nobody would be home, and I would just smoke, and I would be like, why did I do this? Because then my mind would get super cloudy and anxious and paranoid, and this is stupid. Why do I keep going back? And that happened for about, I don't know how long, let's just say a few months, on and off, on and off, on and off. And eventually I stopped, and I started smoking CBD. And then I saw the same pattern with CBD. I needed more and more and more. At one point, a few puffs from a blunt was good. I felt good, and then I had to go to smoking half of one. And then I started smoking a full one. And then I'm just this is the same pattern that happened when I would smoke weed. I would just need a little bit, then I would need more, and then I would need more, and then I would need more. Why do I keep doing this? And then I got to a point where I would do my work throughout the whole day. I would get all of my work done, whatever I was doing with my online business, and then I would smoke in the night. And I did that for a few months. And then it just slowly started to just fall off. I just didn't even want it anymore. And then I would smoke with my friends every once in a while, and I would only smoke CBD, which is the legal weed. It's not really weed, it's not THC, I'm sure you guys know what CBD is. Anyways, every month, maybe a couple weeks, maybe every couple months, I would smoke with my friends. We would go, drive around, listen to music, smoke. And I remember while I would be driving around with my friend, he would be driving, I would be, in the passenger seat, and I would be introspective. I would be like paying attention to myself. I'd be like, how do I feel? Would I be able to like make a video and teach something to someone right now? Immediate answer came, no, absolutely not. The way my mind was, no. Would I be able to sit and write a chapter of a book? Absolutely not. Would I be able to have a serious conversation with somebody about a enlightening topic? Nope, absolutely not. My mind was too cloudy. I was not thinking clearly. I couldn't do it. I had to be honest with myself. It was not adding value to my life. It was just, actually, it was reducing my sharpness. It was reducing my ability to manage my faculties. It was not enhancing them. So then I was like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep smoking? This is dumb. I'd rather be clear-minded and sober and sharp. And of course, there are verses in the Bible that talk about how we need to be sober-minded in order to carry out what we're here to carry out in this world, to do God's will. See, a powerful person in their calling is likely not using any sort of chemical or substance to feel good. They're usually sober and sharp and clear-minded. Now, again, I'm not here to say it's good or bad. I'm just here to say do some introspection on your life and see if it is, again, adding value, if it's beneficial, or if it's not adding value and it's detrimental to your life and to your path. Also look and see if you're suppressing your emotions, if you're suppressing traumas with it, or if you're actually sitting with them sober and facing them, allowing them to dissolve, or praying about them instead of going straight to grabbing the chemical or grabbing the substance, grabbing the weed, as we're talking about in this video. You'll eventually get to a point where, well, if you're anything like me, you notice that it's not adding any value to your life, and at that point, it's like a logical reason to stop. Like, it's not even like you have to force yourself to stop. It just kind of naturally falls off. I mean, I don't know if any of you have noticed this in your life. Feel free to drop it down below in the comments. But that's what happened to me. Now, I'm going to give you another perspective right now that will really help to paint a picture of how we derive our happiness and how like we can really make us delusional and sort of disconnected from God and from our purpose and from our calling. And that perspective is that a human being seeks after their highest form of pleasure in this life. One person's highest form of pleasure is a drug. Someone, it might be weed, someone, it might be a harder drug, makes them feel good. It's their highest form of pleasure, so they then seek after that to find their happiness in life. Another person's highest form of pleasure they've ever experienced is sex, so they seek after that to find their happiness. Another person's highest form of pleasure they've ever experienced in life is maybe intimacy, maybe like communicating with someone that really cares about them. So then they seek someone in life to talk to and have this intimate connection with. Another person's highest desire in life is God, the presence of God. Now this is where we're going to really get into it. Me, personally, I've experienced this presence of God. I talk about this a lot in my videos, how it literally brings me to tears of joy and bliss. Not like a sobbing. Some of you guys are like, oh, he's a crybaby. When you experience this bliss, you will cry as well. Trust me. When this becomes your highest form of pleasure or experience in life, everything else that's below it, if think of it like this, when you smoke, you're in this state of presence with God, right? You're clear-minded, you're sharp, you feel good. So when you smoke, it's no longer going to bring you up. It then brings you down, right? So then you're like, why do I keep bringing myself down? And then we call it getting high. See, if you're really low, like mentally, emotionally, and then you smoke, it might make you feel high, I guess. But if you're already high and you smoke, it's going to bring you low. It's going to reduce the sharpness of your faculties, of your mind. So I don't even think we should call it getting high. I think we should call it getting low, because that's truly what it's doing, at least in my experience. So after all of these experiences and, life playing out the way that it played out for me, it just fell off. It's not something that I want to do. It's not something that I desire. And it's not something that I think that I'll go back to, because I don't need it. So I would say to you, if you're deriving your pleasure from smoking, why can't you derive it from something else? Seeking God, creating a business, doing some sort of creative endeavor, putting your creativity to use. Tap into your creativity. Oh, but Chris, when I smoke, I tap into my creativity. All right. Well, like I said, just be honest with yourself. Are you being honest with yourself? I can't answer that. Maybe do experiments. Try to stop smoking for 3 days. Try to stop smoking for a week, 2 weeks, and see if you feel better, if you're more sharp, if you're more clear-minded. Oh, but Chris, I work 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and when I get home, I just want to smoke and relax. Okay. Well, if you feel like that's the best way that you can spend your time, then do it. If you feel like you could be spending your time doing more productive things that are more beneficial to your future, then maybe stop smoking. Be honest with yourself, right? I want to give you one more perspective, which is making a decision. See, if something outside of you is controlling you and making decisions for you in your life, then you're a slave to that thing. So if that weed is the one that's the thing outside of you, external, that is causing you to make a decision to spend your money on it and then smoke it, then that is then in control of your life. But if you are the one that makes decisions for your life, which you should be the one that makes decisions for your life, guided by God, of course, in your prayer and your fasting. If you're not doing, prayer and fasting, I'd recommend doing that. But you have to be the one that makes decisions in your life. And when it comes to smoking, you have to sit with yourself and ask if you're ready to make a decision. And let me just say this. You have to sit with yourself and be ready and ask if you're ready to make a decision. Now, I want to explain what making a decision means. So the word de in Latin, if I'm not mistaken, means of. And incision means to cut off from. So when you make a decision, that means you're cutting yourself off from all other possibilities. All other possibilities. So when you cut yourself off from all other possibilities, that means there's no going back. You have to make that decision. And this was actually the final piece to the puzzle for me. I would go back every month, 2 months, smoke with my friends here and there. And one day, I remember, like I said, I was in my phone taking notes, like writing down, like my mind is not clear right now. I could not sit and do anything productive or that requires any sort of intellectual energy. So I noticed that I could, when I'm sitting writing notes, one day it came to me after listening to one of my coach's videos on making a decision that I have to make a decision to not smoke anymore, or else I'm going to keep going back. Now, another aspect to it is you might not trust yourself to make a stern decision. You may have lied to yourself many times in the past saying that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to stop doing that. And therefore you don't trust yourself anymore. So you don't even believe that if you make a decision to stop smoking, that you will actually follow through with it. And that's another part of the introspection process, that when you're looking within yourself and you're asking if you're truly ready to make this decision, you have to see if you truly trust yourself to make this decision. And then if you don't trust yourself to make the decision, then what do? Well, you have to go back to a blank slate and forgive yourself from the past, where you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z and you didn't do it. You have to forgive yourself from that and start over, fresh, and say, if I make this decision to stop smoking, I'm truly going to follow through with this decision. And then that builds self-respect, and then that builds a sense of integrity, meaning sticking to your word, staying true to your word, staying true to yourself. Make a decision. Or before you make the decision, actually, ask yourself if you're ready to make that decision. If you're ready to put something away that you've been doing for years and years and years because you now clearly see that it's not productive to you and to your future. It's just really all about self-honesty, self-control, and discipline, which are basically the same thing, self-control, discipline. So now it's all up to you. You've been watching videos, maybe you just watched my video, maybe you haven't been watching videos. You've been watching videos on if you should stop smoking weed, or whatever, and now I'm going to tell you that it's up to you. Be honest with yourself. See if it's adding value to your life, if it's productive, or if it's not adding value and it's detrimental. All right? And also, remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all righteousness, and all of these things shall be added unto you. The first thing that we should seek is the kingdom of God, and everything that you need will be added unto you. Pray, fast, seek, call out, ask, and you shall receive. Knock, and the door shall be open. And that's all for this video. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe if you resonate with me and my energy. Leave a comment, and don't leave the video without hitting the like button. It's the least you can do if you gain value, all right? Send it to a friend too. That's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Much peace and love.